Welcome back to episode 3, the WC show with me, WC, short for Wee Chrissy. This show has been created with pensioners in mind. For years I've felt that pensioners were not represented in the world of podcasts. I want them to find a home here on my podcast with content they can relate to. So here it is. My life's work is to make oldies more high profile. So as always, I dedicate my podcast to them. It's a packed show today, so let's get started. You're in good hands with me and Cam, the producer, for the next 20 minutes or so. Thanks for joining us. I'm wearing one of my favourite brooches today. If there is one thing I love, it's a brooch. A touch of class, Cam. What do you think?
Aye, dead classy, WC.
Aye, thanks. So I want to start with an intro to our Brian, my white Scottish Terrier, my wee treasure. What would I do without him? He brings me so much happiness, and we've made many precious memories together. He's the yin to my young. We lived together happily ever after at the Ponderosa. Who didn't like Bonanza? I don't believe there's a person in the actual world who didn't like Bonanza. Waiting to see which of the boys would be the main feature in each episode. Would it be Hoss, Adam, or Little Joe? Oh, such happy days. Back to me. Me and Brian out for our walk every day. He's wearing his tartan collar and I've got the matching lead. MacLeod tartan, given to us as a gift from the MacLeod family of Skye. Brian can be a bit grumpy, but I regard that as part of his personality. He's also a bit of a ladies' man. I have to take a firm hand at times and rein him in, as well as tell the other dog walkers with female dogs to leave Brian alone. They seem bewitched by him, which I can understand. He's so handsome. But at the end of the day, he just wants his walk and not to be pestered by bitches. Avro, my next door neighbour, we call her Auntie Avro, looks after Brian when I have to go out. She's got a Bichon Frise. It's quite a yappy wee thing called Astrid. And Astrid's always had a crush on Brian. I've watched her parading herself in front of him, sniffing him, standing with her bum facing him. She's got no morals. Brian, however, has shown no interest in her. I've spoken to Avril about her behaviour and how she must keep a strict eye on them when Astrid is in season. But then again, I'm sure Brian wouldn't do that. So what a shock it was when Avril announced the news that Astrid was pregnant and Brian was the father. Oh my God, he's only 4. Far too young to be a father. He's still a child himself. I was struggling to come to terms with this bombshell. But then the thought occurred to me, how could I be sure Astrid hadn't been with another dog? How could Avril be so sure that Brian was definitely the father? When I suggested this to Avril, she was raging. I can assure you, WC, I keep a very strict eye on her in the park. There's no doubt that Brian's the father. Well, it's a pity you didn't do that in your own house, Avril, and we wouldn't be in this situation. I mean, Astrid's got a bit of a reputation as a slut. Well, that's what the other dog walkers have told me. Now Avril's dander really was up. Who said that? I want names. I'm not having my Astrid's reputation dragged through the mud. Shut it, Avril, and tell me what actually happened to make you so sure. And this is the story relayed in detail by Avril. She described the scene she came upon when entering her living room. The two of them were at it like knives. She tried to drag them apart, but they were stuck together. And more importantly, they were doing the deed in the middle of her antique cream and dusky pink handmade Chinese rug that cost a fortune. She spoke at length about her distress at the mess the two of them were making on this beloved, very expensive rug. But decided all she could do was wait till they were finished and went their separate ways. Meanwhile, she was Googling Chinese rug expert cleaners. My God, they'd have their work cut out for them. And the embarrassment of telling them what the stains were. What a nightmare. And a costly one for sure. But where were you, Avril? I told you not to leave them together when you told me Astrid was in season. You should have split them up. You know the drill after all these years. I was in the kitchen making fruit scones for my Women's Guild meeting, and I'd just lost track of time. So because of you making scones, you have landed us in this unacceptable situation, Avril. What a carry-on. What a shock. I decided quietly that when and if pups were born, I would request a DNA test. Fast forward. 5 pups were born, and they were all Brian's double. There was no denying it. You would think Astrid hadn't been involved. Later on, I took Brian over to see his children. But he wasn't remotely interested. I thought, time to ask Gaynor, my ChatGPT person, about this. Gaynor is such a great hand. You can always rely on her. She's never off sick or on holiday. And she assured me this was quite common, as dogs don't recognise puppies as their own. So that removed a nagging doubt. Avril was very quiet. Then, without warning, she sent out a post on Facebook advertising the puppies for sale at £1,000 each. I was stunned she didn't mention this to me. Did she really think she was going to pocket £5,000? I marched straight over to her house with Brian. Right, Avril, halfers. Don't you try and act fly. I've got my eye on you. I was going to do that anyway, WC. You know I wouldn't go behind your back. Aye, right, Avril. I would need to watch her like an eagle. In the end, we both interviewed prospective buyers to ensure the pups were going to a good home. That was the right thing to do. So I was £2,500 up. I will definitely be buying Brian a new dog bed. He deserves it. He's been through so much. And maybe a wee holiday for yours truly. I have no update on the current state of Avril's Chinese rug. But then again, I couldn't care less. And the best news of all is Astrid got spayed. So all's well that ends well. So now I want to change the subject and give you the Magret update. You'll remember the very public fallout between me and Magret in the middle of recording episode 2 of the podcast. I was absolutely bailing at her. She really crossed a line. And I told her I was done with her. See how she gets on without me at her back, and put that in your pipe and smoke it. That's how it was left. It was quiet for a few days, and then I got a report that Magret had taken the fallout hard. She was very upset and gone in a bender. There had been no sign of her since Friday. I sought out her usual cronies. No one had seen her. So I felt I had no choice but to issue a bolo, be on the lookout, on Facebook. And within a few hours, I got a message to say she'd been spotted near the Carlton. Now that would make sense. She has pals in that area and is well known in the pubs and the bingo. The message said she was blutered, but apparently unharmed. So who would I take with me on this search and rescue mission? Georgina, obviously, as she'd accompanied me on many of these missions in the past. She was mentally stable, no fear and calm in volatile situations, but what she was not was a fighter. So who would provide the muscle and the fear factor should that be needed? There was only one person who fitted the bill. BDK, Big Doner Kebab. She was nearly a 6-footer, big and battle-scarred, handy with a weapon and covered in tattoos. Perfect. BDK was ex-military, overseas deployment, retired. She did 2 tours of Afghanistan and some of her stories were wild. It was a shame she'd ended up in Cornwall for a few years for a serious assault charge on her husband. He was a bad man who had it coming, but that was the end of her glory days. Still, she retired in a good pension and that was something. And she still goes to the gym every day. And for her age, she is as fit as she was in the army. I would say she's more like a warrior than a shield maiden. And she would give Ragnar Lothbrok a run for his money. I've seen her in fights when she was younger with the Milton Tongs and the Maryhill Fleet, to name a few. And her cry was always, "No mercy!" She could batter lumps out of anyone. She was always battle ready and would frighten the life out of you if you didn't know her. I found her in our local pub. "Aye, no problem. I'll give you a hand to find Magret," she said. What a great team, I said to myself. Let's go. So there we were, scouring where the most recent sightings were via Facebook messages up and down closes, as landings were the usual place we found her. This wasn't our first rodeo with Magret. BDK was keeping the edgy at the closes, checking for bombs going in. We were just asking anyone we met if they had seen her. And some people weren't sure if they knew her or not, so I described her. She's a pensioner. She's wee and dumpy. She's got a short back and sides haircut, so she looks like a man from the back, and her roots really need done badly. Why is it that women over 50 seem to think they must have short hair, all cut in the same style? Did I miss the memo? Did it say it was mandatory to have short hair when you reach a certain age? I don't get it. People were helpful. Then a Facebook message came in to say that Magret had been spotted in the local dairy buying a can of Iron Brew. That dairy was just along the road, so I dived down and asked the guy behind the counter if he had remembered serving her. "I've just started my shift, hen, sorry." A dead end. So we just continued with our search of the nearby closes and landings, BDK still keeping the edgy. Georgina and I had our fair share of close encounters. In one close landing, a door opened and a dog the size of a lion jumped out, growling and barking. We both nearly had a stroke, for fuck's sake. Fortunately, he was on a lead and his owner was holding him back from pouncing on us. His bark would have woke the dead. We were both shaking like a leaf, rooted to the spot with fear. "Don't be feared. He's dead gentle," said the owner. "Good boy, Diesel." "Anyway, what are yous two oldies doing up this close?" he said menacingly. And as if by magic, BDK appeared, alerted by Diesel's barking. "They two are with me. Get that fucking beast in the house and shut the door." Dug in, door shut. In seconds, even a lion dug in his owner were no going to take on the BDK. In another close, we were accosted by 2 jakies. They'd been watching us and they were asking why 2 old women were going from close to close in a territory they didn't belong to. I was tempted to say we were undercover cops, but on second thoughts, this was not the time or the place for humour. I told them we were on a search and rescue operation to find our pal Magret, who was seen somewhere in this area. What a load of pish, said the mouthy one. Get your purses out, use audience, always carry cash, and get the keys out to your motors. One of yous must have a motor to get yous here. They were standing too close. It's getting scary. They were unpredictable. And again, Big Donna Kebab appeared on the landing, our angel without wings. A wee boy had told her that 2 pensioners looked like they were being held for ransom on the 3rd landing. 2 jakies have got a hold of them. If you know them, you better get up there pronto. They two are with me. You's got a problem with that? She roared at them. The 2 jakies were a blur running away down the stairs. We got off our mark. It was time to regroup. But just at that moment, a Facebook message came in to say Magret had been found. Absolutely miraculous, but unharmed, as far as they could see. She was in a close nearby, so we went to pick her up. Needless to say, Magret was in some nick. Didn't know if it was New Year or New York. She was clutching a half-eaten pie supper in a can of iron brew. But she knew who I was, and she started to give me all sorts of grief, saying, "This is all your fault." "Aye, so it is, Magret. Give yourself peace," I said, completely disgusted at this state of her. So Georgina and BDK took her home. There's no doubt we were all relieved to find Magret safe and sound. She's a pure rocket, but we all care about her. And I'll just leave her till she sobers up. Georgina posted a Facebook message to say Magret found drunk but unharmed and to ignore the earlier Bolo message. And she thanked everyone who had helped in the search for her. Next day, I took a decent-sized cargo down to the BDKs to thank her for playing such a vital part in the search and rescue mission to find Magret. "Any time," she said. "Thanks for this, WC. I'll get that tanned tonight." She was smiling at the cargo. I thought to myself, that's the first time I've ever seen Big Donna Kebab smile. And now it's time for our regular feature, the Fan Zone, where you can get involved, send in any problem or questions to me, and be assured they will be dealt with in a no-nonsense approach. Remember, what happens on the podcast stays on the podcast forever. Here are our 5 choices of answers that can resolve any question. I'll just leave them here so you can see them. So over to you, Bam, for the first problem.
This is from Eric from Cathcart. WC, please help me or at least listen to me. My life is going down the pan and I need some advice. I like a wee gamble and a visit to the casino now and again, but not to excess. And when I was working, I was able to keep my spending under control. But now I'm retired with just the government pension to live on. It's a big change in income and it's hard to adjust to. I knew that and I promised I would stop the minute I retired. And I can't. I'm still going to the casino and I'm very quickly drowning in debt. I've borrowed money off everybody I know and I've run out of people to ask. Everyone's shunning me. Wait a minute. What about you, WC? You okay for a ton? Cash? That's nothing to a woman like you.
I think it's the magician you're looking for. No someone to advise you on what to do. First of all, no chance. Your path is to GA. Addictions can't be battled alone. Well, fans, what answers are we going to give this guy? Cam, I'm going to go with number 3 and number 5. So that's him sorted.
So this next one is from Barbara in Rutherglen. Please help, WC. I'm fairly putting on the beef since I retired last year. All I've been doing is staying in and eating. I don't really know what to do with all this newfound freedom. My pals have given up on me and I just don't want to leave the house.
Well, you've dug yourself a hole, Barbara. Only you can dig yourself out. Get out of the house and get to the Weight Watchers. My answer for you is number 3, What do you think, Cam?
Number 5 for me. WC.
Number 5, right, that's fair enough. So fans, I've decided against continuing with the fan zone. It's just depressing to listen to all your problems. It's lowering the tone of the podcast. And quite frankly, I'm bored of hearing the same old, same old. I feel like I'm being used as an emotional dumpster. I feel so drained after reading all your woes. So I'm changing this section of the podcast to Ask Me Anything. Still the fan zone, but we need something a bit more upbeat. Now, what's caught my eye in the headlines? USA and Iran situation, very concerning and may have an impact on us too, regarding costs of heating, etc. Andrew, formerly known as Prince, and his wife slightly fading into the headlines, though investigations apparently continue, especially over him with his behaviour and ethical morals, or should I say, lack of them, when he was British Trade Envoy from 2001 to 2011. Andrew is said to feel that he has a target on his back. That, Andrew, is the only truthful thing you have ever said. I, for one, am enjoying your long-awaited fall from grace in such a public way. It's no more than you deserve. Andrew and Mandy are being investigated for misconduct in public office, which is a criminal offence and theoretically carries a life imprisonment sentence. However, the life imprisonment sentence has never been imposed in a modern UK. A more likely sentence could be 5 to 8 years, if, of course, they are found guilty. Could you imagine that? The King's brother in Wormwood Scrubs. There have been suggestions that the King had been warned about Andrew's behaviour and his reckless spending with taxpayers' money while in this job, while the King was Prince of Wales. Now, if that's true, then the King could be in trouble. Any sense of decency or integrity are as rare as hen's teeth. You can tell my dander is right up. Put the lot of them in the tower and throw away the keys. And now Deepak Chopra's been mentioned in the Epstein files. Examples of his emails to Jeffrey Epstein were very concerning. Everyone running for cover. Hope they all get what they deserve. And I'm afraid, once again, we've run out of time. I hope you've enjoyed the show and thank you for your company. You can keep in touch on Instagram or TikTok. Always good to hear from you. The podcast can be found on Spotify and YouTube. I look forward to seeing you next time on the WC Show.